So it actually just occurred to me, I could be completely pantsless down here and you would know nothing about it. Hey guys, how's it going? Today I am building some raised planters along the side of my house. A good rule of thumb, at least where I am, is to wait until the May long weekend to put down any new plant materials, as up until the middle of May or so there is still a risk of frost coming in and taking out all of your new plants. If you're watching this as I release this video, that means it is in fact the May long weekend. So, to start this project off, I rip out the old warped timber edger and excavate the old rock and landscape fabric. Then back in my shop I set up my crosscut supports on my workbench, and then completely blow out the exposure on my camera. Once I have one of the 8-foot pressure treated 2x12s on my workbench, I measure out 23.5 inches off the edge, line up my circular saw with the speed square, and cut off the end. Repeating this process through this board and the next for a total of 8 nearly 2-foot segments. With the 2-foot segments all cut out, I pull the crosscut supports off the bench, clean up the sawdust, and start with the construction of the planters. To build the planters, I just butt the 2-footer and the 8-footer together and screw the 2-footer in through the 8-footer. Makes for a quick, strong, and relatively square joint. Since these planters are a little unwieldy once they are fully built, I got my wife to give me a hand to load them into their new location. I feel like I should specify, these planter boxes are just for ornamental planting, which is why I wasn't concerned about using pressure-treated lumber. If these were going to be for edible garden planting, I would use an untreated material like cedar, which is naturally rot resistant. That being said, back before I started my channel, I did build several raised garden planters about 5 years ago. They were built out of pine, and I didn't put any sort of finish on them. They seem to be holding up just fine. Though when I wrote this, I hadn't yet moved them. The interior was a little bit rotten out, but the outside is still fine. I probably got another 5 to 7 years out of those ones yet. Once we dropped the first box in place and had a quick visit from the pups, I moved the box back out of the way and leveled out the ground a little bit more. And my puppy found a rock to gnaw on for some reason. I don't know, she's weird. With the first box leveled out, we brought the next few in, and I realized that the stump from a cedar I cut down 5 years ago was going to be in my way. So I broke out the chainsaw for the first time this year, and once it was warmed up, I cut the stump flush with the ground. Which wasn't quite enough, so I decided to sacrifice the sharpness of my chain and cut into the ground a little bit deeper. I can always sharpen my chain. And here's a testament to how rot-resistant cedar is. This stump is still solid as a rock for being dead for the last 5 years. This is actually the stump. Just fine. I might turn it into a bowl or something at some point. With a little more cutting and chopping, I was able to get the box in place just after my camera battery died. Once the planters were set in their final space, I screwed the sides of the planters together, not like they're going to go anywhere, but this way they'll all stay the same level once things inevitably settle. Now that the planters are placed and screwed together, I put a 3-inch layer of rock on the bottom of the planters to allow for drainage. With the rock finished, I start on the soil. To fill the new planters, I am sacrificing a couple of my garden planters as I'm planning some yard rearrangement and I need these out of the way. Wheelbarrow load by wheelbarrow load, I move the soil from the garden planter to the ornamental planters. And speaking of yard rearrangement, it's time to transplant some of the perennials into their new home. And with that, for now, this project is done. I'm not a big fan of the fence behind the planters. That was here when we moved in, and the sidewalk here needs a little bit of repair as well, but those are projects for another day. Overall, I'm really happy with how this project worked out, and it looks a lot better than the old planter that was there before did. Pretty decent improvement for a weekend of work, if I say so myself. And with that, I'm going to call it a video. Thank you all for watching, and if you like what I'm doing here, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you have any questions or comments, I look forward to reading them in the comment section below. Right there. And if you want to see more up-to-date projects, you can always follow me on Instagram at Schreiner. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video, and have a good one.